Alright, so this one's about you have to keep moving. And I'm reading this book, Steve Jobs by Walter Isaacson. It's a biography about Steve Jobs' life. It's really good. All of his books are good, all his biographies are good. But they're kind of, they really make you think. They give you a different perspective on things. They kind of motivate you. And this topic theme has kind of been coming up in my life about you just have to keep moving, and the idea of motion, and kind of what these people like Steve Jobs, Da Vinci, even Elon Musk, I mean, these people that were inspirational, or they attracted a lot of people, was because they had a way about themselves, how they interacted with people, how they spoke, how they did things, that was, they bettered everyone around them, because they're very passionate about this certain vision that they have, this ideal that they have, and they have motion behind them, and everyone wants to get on board with them because they're going somewhere. And it's they give this rhetoric of like, we're leaving everybody else in the dust, and you can either hop everyone else behind, you can either hop on board with me or like get left behind. And so there's two topics related to this. One is the idea of motion, which I was just talking about that's what really attracts people, that's what really inspires people, it makes them like want to get on board with you, is when you have motion, when you're moving somewhere, when you have this vision that's like you're passionate about, and no one can stop you. Then there's the other aspect about you just have to keep moving, which is kind of just don't remain stagnant, and just keep doing the next thing, and you'll eventually get somewhere, and it will be somewhere good. So you have to keep moving. I did a video about adapt to survive, and it really correlates to that concept about you have to adapt constantly, but you also have to keep moving, and they kind of go together. Well, they do go together. If you think about populations, or certain groups, that they have to keep moving on to somewhere else. They can't stay in one place forever, because they'll never grow, they'll never adapt in a way. And if you keep moving, you'll get out of whatever situation you're in, and you'll keep progressing. But sometimes it feels like you have these obstacles or something to stop you from moving. You kind of lose your momentum, and that's just the worst place to be in, is when you feel stuck and behind and you're not moving. So what I recommend is to always have some type of motion in your life, and there's a couple ways you can get this motion, this momentum in your life. And you need to be inspired about something, something you're passionate about, something that just really lights you up. Steve Jobs, it was his computers, and Apple and his company, and it was more than just a company and his vision, though. It was about his vision for personal computing and what the future would be, and how he's gonna invent the future, and he's gonna make a dent in the universe or whatever. And he really sold people on. He reminds me like a cult leader, because he's very persuasive, charismatic. He manipulates people. He makes people feel a certain way, where they can do the impossible, and then he would tell he'd degrade them down to the point where they want to like please him, or they want to impress them, and they do things that they didn't even know they were capable of doing, because he pushed people to their limits. And these geniuses, Steve Jobs, Leonardo da Vinci, Einstein, Pascal, go through the list of geniuses, and you'll see that they're innovative, they thought differently, they had motion, and they're constantly innovating new ways of doing things, constantly adapting at a high rate. They adapt very quickly, they're very innovative, they're problem solvers, they find better ways to do things. And I realized this idea of like someone that's got motion is what everyone wants, and it's what everyone, it brings everyone in to get something done. So if you look at YouTube, Instagram, movies, they have a sense of motion that they're either their followers are going up, they're getting more views, or they're creating something, or they're going somewhere. And it's always associated with motion, either like physical motion or kind of this idea, like an idea or vision that they're going towards. And a lot of these edits, they're kind of like pique your interest, are very fast paced. They're high edited, high editing pace, where it's very quick shots and music behind it, and it makes you just feel like you're going somewhere. It's moving, and that's the thing about motion, is it's like you want to get on board with it because it's going to take you somewhere. And even if you're not physically moving right now, for example, Steve Jobs, or these businesses that became billion-dollar businesses, in the beginning they weren't moving, but he would talk to people in a way that we're going to be moving, and this is the beginning of something great. And he was very convincing and persuasive of that, like, you want to be on board now because look where we're going. And he knew how to like convince people that we're going to be big one day. And these con artists, or these people that they're doing the same thing. They're mimicking that, you're going to be taken somewhere, that this is going to be the most amazing thing ever. And they want you to have faith in their vision, and that they really believe in it, and they're going to go there. And I guess when you get to points in your life where you're becoming stagnant, or you just kind of lose motion, you get to these points where you're not progressing, or it feels like you're regressing. And the way to get motion is, I found, at least in my life, music is one way. Sometimes a song can kind of just light you up to, get to work. Music, reading, definitely like reading certain, authors that they make you think on a different perspective, and it kind of lights you up to get inspired about it. Certain people that enter your life, they make you want to get to work and go for something that seems impossible. That's the other thing about these people with motion, is they're approaching something that it seems impossible, and they don't care, and they have such confidence that they're like, we're going to do the impossible. And that's really what everybody wants to get on board with. I mean, the whole team of Apple, Elon Musk, SpaceX, we're going to go to Mars, we're going to do the impossible. They convince you that it actually is possible, and they're so confident that it's going to happen that people want to make it happen, and it will happen because they have such hope and confidence and belief that it's going to happen. And they have an underlying philosophy or reasoning about why it should happen, and the impact of what it's going to lead to. So for Steve Jobs, it's going to make everyone free, that they have their personal computer, and they have all this freedom that they can, use it how they want to, and that will benefit their life in different ways. Elon Musk, his underlying philosophy of Mars is that, we're going to advance civilization and go to space, and this world of space travel, and like a base on the moon, and these humanoid robots. But, so music, reading, sometimes movies can kind of inspire you. Definitely people in your life. The environment that you're in, you need to be in like a good environment that's like, you need to surround yourself with people that are progressing. They're not, regressing. They're going for something, or maybe they made it to that thing. You want to try to get closer to those people, listen to those people, get involved with those people that will just light you up to like want to be like them. Certain role models. These people with motion, they're on a path, they're going towards this goal that it's a really, it seems kind of delusional goal, but you want to be a part of it because you know that they're the type of person that can get there. And what's really great about these people that, of course, they all have flaws, but like Da Vinci, or if you read these people that were very innovative minds, it's very infectious into your mind to like think how they want to think and kind of take up their attributes that made them so great. I've also noticed about these innovative minds that they have a certain kind of ideal utopia in their mind that they're striving towards. So they're kind of perfectionists, reaching for, the perfect systems of, for Steve Jobs, it was the perfect, computer program, or the thing that's just so simple to use but so complex and also beautiful, and a certain design to it that was elegant, he connected all this, industrial design and things that catch the eye, and like the curves of a car and a Mercedes to the curves of the iPhone or something like that. But he was just very much into the underlining design of technology, and how this design theory about the product and the box that it comes in, and the colors are all white, like pure, and there's an experience that you have. It's an emotional experience, and that it's something that you don't forget, and it's a part of your life, and it's more like more than just a product that you use. It's something kind of beautiful, or like an art piece. It's artistic as well, and he connected those together. For Da Vinci, he was always trying to get the perfect ratios, and like everything was kind of related to the divine in a way, and he reached for these like utopia or ideal societies about how that irrigation and the water structures like flowed through the city, and the gardens of the perfect symmetry. And they have this thing in their mind about a certain ideal, a certain utopia. Kind of goes back to like Plato's Republic, his perfect state, or how society should be ran in perfect world, or Thomas More's Utopia. They're all reaching for something. The thing about, you just have to keep moving. Just keep moving. When you're stuck, or you don't know where to go next, or you don't want to show up and you want to quit and you want to throw in the towel, and my advice would be just keep moving, and just show up, even though you don't, like, you're dreading to show up, and you're so done with it, and you're like on your last straw, you're like, I just want to quit. And you probably do have a good reason to quit. I've been there so many times about my life, about just give up, just quit. But you just show up the next day, and sometimes you're surprised of like, I'm glad I just showed up, because things get better. It's like ups and downs, and you'll eventually move on from whatever state you're in, and you'll eventually start progressing. But you have to take slow steps. And this thing about I was thinking about when I was hiking the Grand Canyon, or just say you're on some trip where you're hiking some mountain that just seems so impossible, and you're exhausted and you can't do another step, and you just take one more step. You just like one foot in front of the other, one more, and it leads to one more, and one more, and then eventually you get to the top. Eventually you get over the mountain. Eventually what seems so impossible, this long, impossible task, you actually complete it and get to the peak, and you look back and how far you've actually gone. And the worst thing is when you lose hope, and when you lose the goal, and you just lose the motivation, the momentum, and you need to get the momentum back. And once you have the momentum, you'll just keep going. You just need something to like spark you up, like light your spirit on fire, like the thumos in your spirit. But also, like, what everyone's attracted to is people that have motion, people that are going somewhere. And it doesn't really matter where they're going, but just they know they're going somewhere. And they're so passionate about it, it's like, you will go there. Like, when you think about, dating, or what is so repulsive to the women is the guy that's not going anywhere, because he just seems stagnant and he's just got no motion, and he's like, he doesn't have a direction. And even if you have no job, or you're in this state that seems like you're not progressing, you can still have motion of like you're trying to work towards progression. Like you're trying to find the job, you're trying to get in this program, you're trying to move out, you're working towards it each day, and you're working hard. And people can see when someone's working hard, when they're on the grind. And those people are usually kind of attractive in a way, because they're just like so on the grind that you're like, man, this person's going for it. And it's like, you kind of just believe, yeah, they'll get there because look how hard he's trying. And they don't give up. What I also liked about this book, I'm still like halfway through, but it's just the design theory and his philosophy about how things should be presented and how they should be designed, and how much he cared about the user experience. And he was like reaching towards these universal, aspects that we all want. And that's why he created products that they're so intertwined with humanity now that it's kind of sick in a way. But almost every human on Earth, with the exception of certain countries or places that are extremely remote, have some type of Apple product in their life, that it's so involved in their life that it's interconnected with man at this point, which is kind of like a dystopian world that he actually created. But there's a lot of good that came from it too. But these people that are so driven, they don't even realize the impact they will have on the world. And I'm sure there's people that are either really good at something, or inspired by something, or passionate about something, and they don't even realize the impact they're having on other people. And you want to be that person that's like passionate and going for something that you impact other people's lives, and you don't even realize it because you're so focused. That's the other word that describes these greats. They're focused, very focused, and nothing can get them off course because they're going this direction, and no one's going to stop them. Like no one can get in their way, which is refreshing. Like Alexander the Great, when he just dominates everything and everyone in the whole world, it's like no one can stop them. They're unstoppable. And it's not because they're physically unstoppable, like they will have people that Steve Jobs had, Bill Gates, or IBM, or these other competitors that are trying to stop you. But they get a great team, and they know how to adapt. They know how to adapt well, and they're constantly adapting. I'm trying to think of the other ways you can get momentum in your life. Reading, music, movies, people in your life, the environment that you're in. You have to, take a leap of faith and get into an environment that will push you forward. And not giving up, definitely. Setting up a schedule, a routine, or not being so chaotic of like you don't know what to do the next day. You gotta set up like a goal and like I want to do this every day. work on this or look, even if you don't know anything about how to get to the end destination, you can do something to what I think would, say it's getting a job. Well, look at companies or places that you could apply to or work on your resume or something that you're in a direction of doing something. It doesn't mean, you're going to get the end goal immediately or you even know what you're doing, but you're working. The thing about motion is you're using energy and you're working. And it may seem like you're getting nothing out of it, and that may be true in the beginning, like the start of a company, or you're trying to get that career, or trying to get that person, or place, or goal, or dream, and you're like, I don't even know where to begin. Well, the place to begin is just starting. Like, it didn't have to be good, it can be terrible, but at least you're trying, and then you're starting, and you get better and better and better, and you adapt and you adapt and you learn, and you move on to certain things where it's like, okay, I'm gonna try this now, and this gets you a little bit of traction, and then you start, it gets more and more and more, and it's like a snowball effect. Well, that's what's like Apple, where he started in his parents' garage, with a bunch of nerds, and all great things, they have a really small beginning that is just, it can die out, or it can, grow into something like huge. And even if you're stuck, stagnant, sometimes physical motion actually gets your mind in motion. And I liked how in the book he was talking about how he was trying to call the Macintosh or Apple One, I forgot, about, he wanted to call it like the bicycle of the mind, or he wanted to name it bicycle because he thought it was like a bicycle of the mind, get your mind moving. And they're like, nah, that's a horrible idea. But there's a quote from Einstein where he's like, life is like a bicycle. In order to keep your balance, you must keep moving. So you just have to get moving in some way. And if your mind is not generating ideas, you have to move your physical body, which is like working out, going on a walk, on a run, something to get your, physical motion, and your mind will, get motion. You'll start having thoughts. Say, like, I used to go on a run at like sunset by this lake about when I was, unemployed, living with my parents, and I didn't know where to go. I was just going to the library every day trying to, figure out what to do. And I go on a run, and then I just have all these thoughts coming in, like ideas. And you need to foster an environment or a situation where you're just getting ideas constantly. And the ideas can sometimes be like an adaptation of what wasn't working. What you did today and it wasn't working, or this isn't working, or what can you try differently? So I like the quote, life is like a bicycle. In order to keep your balance, you must keep moving, which means things are going to happen, but if you just keep moving, that's how you maintain your balance. That's how you don't go insane, is you just keep moving on. Like mistakes, failures, tragedies, horrible things, good things. It's just going to be like, it's going to keep being ups and downs, and you just have to keep moving. You just keep moving on. Like, things come and go, and bad things happen, and you just move on, and you got to forgive people, and you got to like say you're sorry and I screwed up, and then you move on to the next thing, and then you make another mistake and you do it again. You do it over and over and over. You just keep moving on. And there's someone I really respect in my life, and he's an older man, and he's like, I notice with him, there's constantly screw ups of, everyone around him, or, stuff that he can't control, that's just like, here we go again. But he just moves on. He's like, okay, well, that happened, let's not let that happen again, or like, he just moves on to the next thing. And that's how life goes. You just keep moving. And if you keep moving, you'll keep your balance. And you'll also progress, and you don't even realize it. If you just keep moving, you will be progressing. Like, say you're going on a hike, or this long obstacle or a mountain or something. You just keep doing one step, which is so minimal, so like it seems meaningless, or almost like it didn't compare to the whole, but you actually are progressing a little bit, and you'll keep moving up. and then you'll fall back down and you keep going up. And with persistence and not giving up and having momentum and hope, and you'll get there. You'll get to the end, and then you get to the end and there's another mountain, and you keep doing that your whole life. But the people that are behind, or the people that are real just unhappy, no peace, is they don't keep moving and they don't move on, and their mind sticks to things in the past, and they stay in the same situation, and they never move on. And it's so sad. I see these people at different jobs that I worked at, like they've been there for 15 years and they're not happy with his job, and it's like, why did you never move on? You just got stuck. And that's the worst to me. Like, people that just settled, like never settle, always keep going for the best, go for the thing that's like, I'll never get this, but if I got that, that would be the dream. We'll keep going for it. Whether it's a girl or guy, job, place to live, some dream thing, it's like, you will get there. And the people who don't get there are the ones that just settle, and they're like, they just don't see all this potential in themselves, and they low self-esteem, and they just complain, and they never move on, and they're stuck in stagnation. But I know in my life, I'm gonna be someone that's got emotion, someone that moves on to bigger and better. And it's not even about like that I would be better than someone. It's just that I'll change my situation. There's a movie, The Equalizer, when I think Denzel Washington's like talking to some prostitute that's got a horrible life, and he's like, change your world. Or she says something about my world, and he's like, then change your world. And it's really true. I mean, you can change your like situation, your reality. You don't even realize how much power you have over that. You can actually quit your job. You can actually move to that place. You can actually like go for it. You can change everything. You can change your credentials. You can change your background. People have a bad past, or you think you're not. You actually are capable of pretty much anything. Go for the top thing, and you realize like everyone else at the top is actually not even that competent, and they're not that great. Like, I met people that are, these board of something, or the CEO, or it seems like these top jobs of like, they're so, credentialed. They're actually just pretty much like idiots up there. And you're actually more capable than what they're doing. And you're like, if I was up there, I would run this thing completely differently. And I remember one job, I kind of got involved a little bit into I wasn't promoted or anything, but I got to see like the corporate life and how they're dealing with things. They get, they have all this money coming in, and how they like disperse it and like go on these retreats, or the way they spend their money. And it was like foolishness. I'm like, I can't believe this is actually happening up here. Like they didn't even realize what the people in the lower positions, they didn't even know how to do their job, and they were so disconnected. So you can make it to wherever you want to make it. And you can make something in your life. And don't be the person that just settles and gets stuck. Get out of there. Do something to work hard to get out of there and move on to something bigger and better. And if you're not at that place where you moved on to something bigger, don't give up on working towards it. Just stay on the grind. And if you don't move physically, mentally, you're not moving, you're gonna get stagnant. And what happens when you get stagnant is your whole life deteriorates in every aspect. Your health, your mind, your thoughts, your actual physical job that you're doing is like, you're tired all the time, your sleep schedule's off, your diet's off, you start gaining weight, you look terrible, you feel terrible, you think terrible. Like, it starts permeating your whole life. You know, relationships are bad. Like everything just devolves down of like you're causing this destruction. You don't even realize it, and you got to get out of that. You got to get out of that. You got to start thinking good. You just got to start getting on the move. You got to start working. You got to start going on a run, and just get back into the game. Because you're not out of the game. Like, don't give up. Get back in and go for it. And I've seen the other side of it because I was there once where I wasn't going anywhere. But I got out of it because, not because I did some amazing big thing, but I just did the next thing. I just kept moving. And one final thing was, I thought it was a good point when I was watching this. There's a YouTube channel, Sailing the Vagabond, and they're like this family that sails across the world. And their boat got like some maintenance issues or something. I don't know. They're stuck on, had to be in the dock for a while, and they're sick of it. They finally got it fixed, and they're like, the feeling they had of like, we just got to move again. We're so sick of not being able to move, but now we can move. And the girl was like, that's probably what humans are, evolved to. Like, we're constantly we need to move. Like, that's why they're nomadic and they're constantly, you move on to the next thing because that's just how we're designed to move. Like, you think about human history, and we had to come to the new world, or we had to, explore. We're just moving on every time. That's why we're trying to even go to like Mars and space now. Just move on to the next thing. Because once something, when something is fully developed, it's like, let's move on and build something new. That's what attracts everyone else, is when you're building something new and you're just starting over. I mean, that's the ultimate appeal to actually the mind, is like a fresh start. Either job, place, new beginning of something, marriage, children, moving somewhere new. It's like this fear, but also just like something like a beginning and a birth. And you want to move on and you want to build something, and it's kind of like the possibilities are endless, like a blank sheet of paper or a brand new place, or you get to start from the ground up, but like this could be anything I want it to be, and kind of get to design and create. That's why the game, Minecraft's so popular. About it just gets into the human mind about you can build anything and create anything, and it's your own world, and you can just morph it how you want to. It's this creative aspect of everyone wants to create something, and they have their own ideas of how they'd create it, which is, it's really fascinating about how each individual would do it in a different way. Like, you take a blank piece of paper, or an empty room or empty house, or a building, or however something's going to be created, and everyone has their own unique likes, dislikes about how they do it, how they'd want it, their style, how they design it, what would be beneficial to them. Architects, and how they can have a certain blueprint of how I want this. And that's what inspires us, is just seeing other people's designs and creations. That's another way to get motion, is seeing other people's creative videos, music, pictures, architecture, paintings, literature, even people's crafts, where you see it's like they've mastered something. It really just inspires you. But I think that's all I got. Yeah, peace.